What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the No Fun League Soccer Edition. And today I just wanted to touch on and talk about the differences between the Euros and Copa America and why the Euros seem to be the much better product, even though there's a lot of talent in Copa America as well, and it's being played in the biggest media market in the world, the United States. And I think the number one reason is pitch conditions, or not the number one reason. The number one reason is finances, obviously. In 2023, CONMEBOL, the governing body for South American soccer, made $500 million in revenue. CONCACAF, the governing body for North American and Caribbean soccer, made $33 million in revenue. And the Euro and UEFA made $4.3 billion in revenue. And one of the biggest reasons for that is the fact that, UEFA also has the Champions League and the Europa League, and they make a lot of money off of those tournaments as well, while South America does not have that. North America doesn't have that. That is one of the biggest reasons. Also, most of the high-profile players play in Europe, so when they take part in those championships, they get more viewers. The Champions League final is one of the most viewed TV events every single year, and it doesn't happen every 4 years like the World Cup or the Euros or Copa America. It happens every year, so that's a guaranteed revenue for them. But that money allows you to pay for better referees, pay for, better pitch conditions, have better fields at your disposal. And part of the pitch condition issue is the fact that it's being played in the U.S., and because of the fact that the big stadiums in the U.S. are football stadiums, most of the owners of those football teams of those stadiums have either put turf or put grass on top of the turf, or taken off the turf and put grass on top of concrete. And because of that, you can see the seams and rips in the grass while the players are playing. It causes the ball to be a little more bouncier because it's basically concrete underneath it, and it causes a lot more injury risk as well. And some players have already gotten hurt because of that. In fact, one player got hurt without even playing because of the field conditions, and that hampers the game a lot, and it makes it less fun to watch. And for the Euros, the fans are also, fan sections seem a lot more crowded and more hyped and loud, and it just seems like there's a lot more people there, and that is being proven by the numbers as well. There's been a lot more empty seats at Copa America games in the U.S. compared to what we're seeing at the Euros in Germany. The biggest reason for that is that, the travel difference between between the Czech Republic or Turkey and Germany compared to Brazil to the U.S. or Argentina to the U.S. or some of the smaller countries to the U.S. is a lot more. And once you get in the U.S., if you're staying in like Dallas where a lot of games have been played, or Miami where the final is going to be, you can stay there and watch those games. But if you're following around your team, like if you're an Argentina fan and want to go everywhere that they're playing, you're going to have to travel around the U.S., and those are, 4, 5, 6 hour flights as well, depending on where you're going. Because there's some games being played in San Francisco, there's some games being played in New Jersey, some games being played in Miami. That's a lot of travel that adds up, and it's very costly. So that is a big impediment as well. And then we also have countries like Venezuela and Copa America, who, because of political reasons amongst the two countries, they face a lot of travel restrictions. If a Venezuelan fan wants to come to the U.S. from Venezuela to watch their team play, there's a lot of restrictions as well. When we talk about the product actually on the field, I think, and this is no disrespect to any country at the Copa America, but the smaller countries that are taking part in the Euros, like Turkey, who's currently leading the Netherlands at halftime in a quarterfinal, or, Austria had a really good run this year. Switzerland is playing well. They just got eliminated. Those countries punch higher above their weight more than the Copa America teams seem to do. Obviously, we have cool stories like Canada and Panama, but that is not a constant, and the Copa America is usually won by the big three of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. We see that, while the Euros are won by the big teams predominantly as well, Greece won less than 24 years ago. Greece won a Euros somehow, some way. And smaller teams make it to the finals, make it to the semifinals, as we saw in the World Cup as well with Morocco there. But I think the single biggest reason for the difference is the officiating. we had a guy named Kevin Ortega from Peru officiate the USA Paraguay match, or Uruguay match. He pulled out a yellow card without stopping play, and Uruguay almost scored a goal. And that game was consequential. It was actually the most watched non-World Cup game in the history of FS1. 3.77 million people watched it on average, with upwards of 4 million people tuning in towards the end of that game because it was so important. It was so hyped up. It's the host nation. It's the United States of America. They're finally somewhat competent at soccer, even though their coach sucks, which we covered earlier. Thank y'all who watched that video. But that is the single biggest reason. In the Euros, while the officiating is still bad, I spent all of yesterday complaining about it with the Germany game. At least those referees are experienced. They're refereeing in the Premier League or Bundesliga or high-stakes European leagues. They're the referees. They're used to that pressure. Kevin Ortega signed up to ref FIFA games in 2019. That's less than 5 years ago. He hasn't refed a lot of FIFA games either. That was his first game as head ref. And it was a high-pressure, high-stakes environment. Whoever made that decision should be fired because it was a shit show. And overall, if you look at the officiating in Copa America, it seems very different from every other style of soccer that I've ever watched ever. And while that is really fun, I really enjoy watching it, it does not allow players to show their true skill. If you watch the Euros, you can see Jamal Musiala or Jude Bellingham or Bukayo Saka. You can see them with the ball at their feet, how good they are controlling it, their moves, everything like that. It's like watching Connor McDavid play hockey. You can't do that in Copa America because as soon as a guy is about to break away, you tackle him, and most of the time you don't even get a card. The tackle that everybody's mad at Toni Kroos for making on Pedri yesterday in the Germany-Spain game, that is constant in Copa. And even in the penalty box, everything like that, there are clear fouls everywhere, and they're just not called. And then even if fouls are called, there's a clear discrepancy between several moments in the same game, which just don't make it fun to watch. And that is the single biggest reason for the worst product, in my opinion. And I think a lot of this stems from if you're making $4 billion a year compared to $500 million in revenue, that's not even actual profit, just in revenue, you're going to be able to spend a lot more and put on a better tournament, which we're seeing in real time. But hopefully the field conditions and things like that improve in the U.S. before the World Cup. The infrastructure improves, because otherwise we're looking at a not great look for one of the biggest countries in the world, especially with their soccer team in shambles right now. But thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.